Welcome back to Tales from the Vale. Tonight, we journey to the frost-bitten kingdom of Eldoria, a land ruled by a long line of kings, but shadowed by a terrible secret. Our story begins with Prince Alaric, the sole heir to the throne, a young man admired for his sharp mind and kind heart, but plagued by a malady no royal physician could cure. From birth, Alaric was frail. His skin, as pale as fresh snow, seemed almost translucent. He suffered from a constant, gnawing hunger that no amount of food could ever satisfy. The finest chefs in the kingdom prepared lavish banquets, but each bite was a torment, turning to ash in his mouth. He grew weaker by the day, a ghost haunting the castle halls, his life a slow, agonizing fate. King Theron, his father, was a man consumed by desperation. He had watched his wife, Queen Seraphina, waste away from the same mysterious illness years ago. The memory of her decline was a fresh wound, and seeing his son follow the same path was an unbearable cruelty. He offered fortunes for a cure, summoning healers, alchemists, and mystics from the farthest corners of the world. None could help. The curse, as the common folk whispered, was unbreakable. One stormy night, as Alaric lay shivering in his grand bed, a hunched figure was brought before the king. She was an old woman named Alara, a recluse from the Whispering Woods, rumored to possess knowledge of the old ways, the forbidden magic that predated the kingdom itself. Her eyes, dark and knowing, assessed the situation with a grim certainty. "The royal bloodline is cursed," she rasped, her voice like grinding stones. "It is not a sickness of the body, but of the soul. An ancient pact was made for power, and the price is an eternal, insatiable hunger." She explained that centuries ago, the first king of Eldoria, desperate to save his people from a devastating famine, had made a deal with a shadowy, ancient entity. In exchange for prosperity, his descendants would carry a thirst that could never be quenched by mortal food. "There is a remedy," Alara continued, her gaze fixed on the desperate king. "But it is a terrible one. The prince must drink the blood of a willing heart, a life freely given. Only then can the curse be transformed, managed, but never truly broken." King Theron recoiled in horror. The idea was monstrous, a violation of every principle he held dear. He dismissed Alara, casting her out into the storm, his heart a battleground of love and morality. But as the days turned into weeks, Alaric's condition worsened. He was a mere whisper of a person, his breath shallow, his life flickering like a dying candle. The king's resolve began to crumble. He summoned his most loyal knight, Sir Kale, a man who had been Alaric's protector and friend since childhood. Theron, his voice trembling with shame and grief, confessed the nature of the curse and the horrifying cure Alara had proposed. Kale, his face a mask of stoicism, listened without judgment. He had sworn an oath to protect the royal family, an oath he intended to honor, no matter the cost. "My king," Kale said, his voice steady, "my life has always been sworn to the service of the crown and to the prince. If my blood can save him, then it is his to take. I give it willingly." Torn between saving his son and sacrificing his most loyal subject, the king was paralyzed. But the choice was soon taken from his hands. That very night, Alaric fell into a deep, death-like trance. The royal physicians declared he had only hours left. Consumed by a father's love and primal fear, King Theron made his decision. He led the unconscious Kale to the prince's chambers. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, he made a small cut on the knight's wrist, letting the crimson essence drip into a silver chalice. He knelt beside his son, lifting the boy's head and bringing the cup to his pale lips. The moment the blood touched Alaric's tongue, his eyes snapped open. They were no longer the soft blue of his youth, but a burning, predatory crimson. A feral strength surged through his emaciated body. He sat up, not as a frail boy, but as something else entirely. Something powerful and terrifyingly alive. The gnawing hunger that had tormented him his entire life was gone, replaced by a new, sharper craving. A thirst. The transformation was immediate and absolute. His senses were heightened to an impossible degree. He could hear the frantic heartbeat of a mouse scurrying in the castle walls, smell the fierce scent of his father, and see the intricate patterns of frost forming on the window pane. The world, once a dull, gray tapestry, was now a vibrant, overwhelming explosion of sensation. And at the center of it all was the intoxicating, sweet aroma of the blood still welling from Cale's wrist. In the days that followed, Alaric learned to control his new existence. Cale, who had willingly given his lifeblood, became his anchor. The knight provided small amounts of his blood each day, a ritual that bound them together in a way deeper than brotherhood. Alaric was no longer dying. He was strong, fast, and possessed a mind sharper than ever before. But he was also a creature of the night, finding the sun's light painful and the company of mortals draining. The court was told that a miraculous cure had been found. Prince Alaric had recovered, but whispers followed him through the grand halls. Servants spoke of his unsettling stillness, the way he seemed to glide rather than walk, and the unnatural intensity in his gaze. He never ate at the banquets, preferring to stand in the shadows, a silent observer. His relationship with his father became strained. King Theron saw his son, healthy and strong, but he also saw the monster he had helped create. He was haunted by the crimson in Alaric's eyes and the secret they shared. Guilt was a poison, slowly eating away at the king's soul. One evening, as Alaric stood on a balcony overlooking the moonlit kingdom, Cale approached him. "You are the future of this kingdom, my prince," the knight said quietly. "This curse, it is a part of you now, but it does not have to define you. Your heart, the one I knew as a boy, is still there. You must rule with that heart." Cale's words resonated with Alaric. He was a vampire, a creature of eternal hunger, but he was also the heir of Eldoria. He had a duty to his people. He began to use his newfound abilities for their benefit. His heightened senses allowed him to uncover plots against the crown. His tireless nature let him work through the night, studying law, strategy, and economics. He became a prince of shadows, a silent guardian who saw and knew all. He learned to manage his thirst, subsisting only on the small, willing offerings from Cale. He vowed never to harm an innocent, to channel the predatory instincts of the curse into a force for protection and justice. He would be a different kind of king, one who understood the darkness because he lived within it. Years passed. King Theron grew old and eventually passed away, his final breath a sigh of mingled pride and regret. Prince Alaric ascended the throne, becoming King Alaric, the vampire king of Eldoria. The common folk knew him as a wise and just ruler, if an unconventional one. He was rarely seen in daylight, holding court by twilight and working tirelessly through the night. His reign brought unprecedented peace and prosperity, just as the ancient pact had promised. Cale remained by his side, his loyal knight and confidant, their bond unbroken by time. Alaric ruled for centuries, an eternal, unchanging monarch. He watched generations of his subjects live and die, a lonely god-king bearing the weight of his crown and his curse. He was a living paradox, a monster sworn to protect mortals, a predator who championed the weak, a king with a curse of eternal hunger who fed his people and ensured they never went without. His story became a legend whispered through the ages, a tale from the Vale about the royal heir who embraced his inner darkness to become his kingdom's greatest light. Thank you for listening to this tale from the Vale. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more journeys into the shadows. Until next time, stay curious.